Hello. I would like to answer the last set of questions, which are what kind of environment do I need to have in order to compose? So, the only environment that I need to have, honestly, is a piano. I need to have a piano. I guess I can do it on a keyboard, but a piano has a real one-to-one relationship. So if I'm caressing it very quietly and I'm trying to be as light as snow, the piano gives me the sound back. It's harder to do on digital keyboard. Um, so I like to have a real experience with creating the melody at the piano. And so basically, the way I have a piano, and I sit at my piano for hours, and I just let my fingers go, and my fingers kind of have a mind of their own. So I'll just let my fingers play, and as soon as I kind of hear something that's good or kind of sparks my brain, say, "Oh, that's those three notes are quality. They have something. They have a je ne sais quoi." I will then start with those three notes and build on it. So it can take me hours of just improvising in every kind of style possible, doing loud, soft, slow, fast, very atonal or very lyrical, whatever it is. I just need to explore everything in my head and hear it out loud on the piano. So pretty soon these little ideas are like, oh, that sounds good. It's kind of like when you're looking through the sand and you're trying to find beautiful seashells, and you got to dig, 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 dig. It's like, oh, here's one, very, very nice. I'm going to put this one aside. I think we can use that one. And that's kind of how it is for me for music. Is I have to search for the material. I have to like explore the sounds, and once I come up with something that sounds good to me, then I try to perfect it. I try to make sure the harmonies are correct, that they flourish underneath the melody, that the melody is right in where it should be, not too high, not too low. Maybe everything has to be put into a different key because every key has a different feeling. D major is drastically different than C major, even though they're only one tone apart. But if you heard the same piece of music in D major, the the overtone series is very different than C major. It has a completely different color. So uh, even just one key makes a very big difference of the feeling of the piece. So there's literally millions and millions of decisions that have to be made when you're composing, because you come up with a kind of a good idea, good chord, then you have to make decisions of what you're going to do with it. Especially in orchestration, who's going to play the bottom note, who's going to play the middle note, who's going to play these top notes, and you have a million choices. So being a composer, you just have to be very decisive about the decisions you make, because there's so many decisions that have to be made uh, all day long, and so you really got to have clarity. So the more time I spend at the piano and I get the piece of music uh, good and melodic and very well structured, then it's easier for me to begin the orchestration process, because I kind of really know how it's going to sound based on how it sounds at the piano. Um, so your question is, I need to be alone in my living room on my piano. And by the way, I have a new piano. I am now like a Fazioli artist. Fazioli is a handmade Italian piano. I used to have a Steinway, so all the heroes of my Magic soundtracks up until this point were composed on a Steinway, American Steinway B. I sold that piano to get this Fazioli handmade piano made by Paolo Fazioli in Italy, and he actually personally told me to buy this specific piano. He heard me play, and he said, based on your technique and how you produce sound at the keyboard, this piano is the one for you. So he actually told me to buy a very specific piano of his that was custom made in Babinga rosewood. It's a one of a kind piano. It's the only one in the world made out of this particular wood. Fazioli in his whole career has made a total of maybe 4,700 pianos over the past 45 years. And out of these pianos, he told me this one was the one for me, the relationship. So this olden era soundtrack is my first soundtrack composed on this new Fazioli piano. And I'm performing on Fazioli pianos too in Europe, Canada. And so this new relationship, Fazioli is actually one of the world's top 5 pianos. There's Steinway, Borsendorfer, Grotrian, Bluthner, Fazioli. But out of all those 5 pianos, all of the original makers, Steinway and Bluthner and Bechstein and Borsendorfer and Grotrian, they've been dead for hundreds of years, for a long time. So out of that top list of top pianos, the only one who's alive is Mr. Fazioli. So I thought, you know what? This is great to have a relationship with the man who made my piano. And he's the one who told me to get that particular piano based on how he saw how I played the piano. So it's been amazing. So it's kind of a life changer. So anyway, just a little piece of side information of my new composing in this past few months, composing on a Fazioli 7'4" Babinga piano. It's a remarkable instrument. That's kind of why I also want the Unfrozen people to come to Los Angeles so they can actually hear me play the music for them live in my living room on the piano that I created the music, and they'll get a very personal experience of creativity of how music is created. So as far I did answer the question about the sneak peek. Yes, there has already been a sneak peek of. There's already been one performance of the first tune that was accepted for Olden Era. It's maybe there might be a second performance of it in April 28th if we can start fixing some of the notes. It's not quite there yet as far as getting it very accurate to the original, to my original recording. So we have the original recording that I did here in LA, and now we have the orchestra in Poland. So we have to try to get as close as possible so that it's not like different. So yes, my environment is to have quietness with my piano, and then I can be highly creative and create whatever it is I need to create. And do I have rituals? You know, on my way to my recording studio in my office, I have a vestibule that has religious artifacts from different religions, primarily Orthodox Christian, but also some Buddhist, Nepal Buddhism, some artifacts, daggers, chalices, icons. And I look at these pieces because in their cultures, these are very significant and very spiritual, mystical pieces. So I look at them, I look at all of these artworks I have in the little vestibule before you enter my office, and I say hi to everybody. And these are all from the 14th, 15th, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. So there's kind of energy. So I look at them, I go, okay, everybody, let's get to work here. Let's open up our chakras and let's open up our creativity, and I need all of your help, please. So that's kind of one of my little rituals. And any of my memories throughout my career. Well, you know what? I've been doing music since I was like 3 years old, so I remember just as a 3 and 4 year old playing whatever I heard on the radio and having everybody in my family applaud. I always remember people standing around me since I was a little kid. If I played the piano, then people would stand around to watch. Even if we went to the mall or to a store, they had pianos. I would just sit down and play, and all of a sudden, all these strangers would surround me. So I always felt music had this superpower to kind of bring, it doesn't pull people apart, it actually brings people together. So I love that. So when I do a concert with an orchestra, I'm playing the piano, and I have the audience way out here, and I have my orchestra here, and my conductor is like right here. So I'm always looking at my conductor, we're together, and I look at everybody in the orchestra. Even when I'm playing, I'll be looking at my violins, the trumpet, the opera singers, percussion players. So, because we're all together, so I'm not just trying to look at myself, I'm trying to look at everybody who's playing. But then I also look at the audience that's listening. So, I'm like, even way up at the balcony. So I try to, you know what, all of us on stage here, we're playing this, and we hope all of you enjoy this. And so I need the energy from the audience, and I need all the energy from the orchestra, and we all come together. And it's beautiful. And I try not to put any walls between me and the audience and me and the orchestra. We're all one, and we're all there for the same reason. So, all good memories since I was a kid. Oh gosh, when I was young, I used to go to Japan a lot with my parents, my dad, my mom, my aunt, to do concerts for Yamaha Music Corporation. So I got to play in different concert halls throughout Japan. I used to love Japan. We used to stay in these hotels that were authentic Japanese hotels where you sleep on the floor on tatami floors, and beautiful. I really enjoyed my years in Japan. It was weird. I made my first recording when I was 11 years old through Yamaha, and I felt like, wow. When I was 11 years old, I felt like a recording artist because I actually had records and I had my music published. So that was a very exciting time for me. And then when I wrote my first piano concerto, I was 13 years old, and I was able to play in Japan. And then I was invited to play it at the United Nations General Assembly Hall with Mstislav Rostropovich, who was a great Russian cellist and conductor who had defected from Russia into the United States, and then he became the head of the United States Symphony, the National Symphony Orchestra. So I was invited to play with him, making my concertos American debut with a Russian and America's Symphony, the National Symphony, at United Nations General Assembly Hall for a benefit concert for UNICEF. So it was televised all over the world, filmed in New York, and then we did the same concerts at the Kennedy Center like a week later. So during that week of playing in Washington, D.C., I got to go to the White House. I got to go on a shopping spree at the expense of the Yamaha Music Foundation, and they took me to a store and they said, just buy anything you want, which is an amazing feeling. At the time I was 15, so that was a very exciting moment for me. I think the first time I ever got a fan letter from YouTube from people who were listening to Heroes of Might and Magic, I didn't even think that people were listening. So to start getting fan letters, say, wow, we love your music. It's like, wow, you do? How do you even hear it? Like outside of the game, it's like, oh no, we separated the music. We listened to it separately. And so I was like, wow, that's really, really nice. I just never thought I never thought my music career was going to be in games. I thought it was just going to be directly on stage, me playing the piano with orchestras. I didn't realize my career would happen the way I wanted it, but through video games. So it's been a great relationship with me and games.